Not safe for work. Ask me anything with pornstar Jessa Rhodes. I am pornstar Jessa Rhodes, ask me anything. Hi everybody. I'm excited to interact with my fans and other curious people in my first AMA, ask me anything. Would you sleep with a fan to fulfill their fantasy? Asking for all of us. Actually yes. In fact, people can enter my Fuck a Fan contest via my private Snapchat. What got you into the business? God granted me with a vagina, so I figured I'd use it. Is this your real life's ambition, or just a vehicle to get you someplace else? Where would the someplace else be? My life is not going to plateau with being a porn star. My goals in entering the industry have not just been met, but been exceeded in that I've learned a lot about sexual health and openness, and how people work. That being said, I've always wanted to get into a health and wellness, hospitality line of work, and my end goal would be to use my personal experiences with my prior life during the industry to inspire growth within others. I've always wondered how menstruation comes into play. Do you take a week off once a month, or are you on one of the birth control that limits how often you have your period? We clean out very well and we put a sponge in there. You asked. What was your "they don't pay me enough for this shit" moment while at work? One time while shooting for Brazzers for Kieran Lee, I had to dive into a pool and swim from one end to another while wearing a robe that weighed me down. I had to do many takes because of technical difficulties. Every time I held my breath and resurfaced, I thought I was going to pass out. And then proceeded to get fucked in the butthole. What's the most annoying misconception about your industry? That my pussy is a well-oiled machine and that we all wanna fuck, all the time. Many times in scenes the cameraman or male talent gets majorly cringe-inducing. Have you ever shot a scene where it was so bad you were literally dying to get the shit over with and get out? I'm not going to say who it was for, but one time I was so grossed out after a scene that I went back and paid the guy back that I was doing the scene with and asked to get the footage so I can destroy it. Hey Jessa, been a fan for years now. I always wondered how it felt for an adult entertainer to live outside of sets and shoots. Like, do you get recognized on the street daily, etc.? And how do you act with fans recognizing you? Yes, I do get recognized all the time. People always say, "Where do I know you from?" and I usually look at them and say, "You spend a little too much time on your laptop, right?" And they look at me awkwardly and walk away. You hear mixed things about drug use and porn. What's been your experience? Also, what's your daily workout routine? Actually, the mainstream industry has a lot more drug use than the porn world. As far as my workout routine, I just try to work out every single part of my body at least once a week, or whatever needs work. Side note, abs are made in the kitchen. It's true. If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be? Performers would get royalties. Have you ever accidentally snapped a Crayola crayon in half and then tried taping it back together only to find out that it's just not the same? Asking for a friend. No, but I've snapped them in half intentionally and shoved them both up my nose. This was last week. What do you like to do in your free time? What's free time? What is this concept that you speak of? How often do you actually enjoy the action in your videos? If I'm being completely honest, I enjoy it 90% of the time. Especially now that I've been in the industry for 7 years, it's easier now with muscle memory with the lighting and angles and whatnot to focus purely on good sex. Whereas before, I'd get nervous and anxious about making sure that I was opening to the camera and I wanted to make sure that the director got what he needed as opposed to me focusing on having good sex. Favorite dinosaur? T-Rex. They have big heads, little arms. Super cute. What was the longest time it ever took to shoot a scene? I've been on set for 24 hours once. That was not a very fun day. If you were dropped off 200 miles from civilization in the Australian outback, what would you put in your backpack, and would you be able to make it back alive? A 2-in-1 spider and snake antidote because everything is out to kill you. Australian deterrent spray since I've dated one too many of them. Copious amounts of cocaine so I can outrun whatever is chasing me. What prompted you to work in an industry with so much social taboo surrounding it, and how do the haters out there affect your sense of self-worth? Are there tactics you use that help it roll off your back? Mad props for doing you, from a fellow female who probably couldn't hack it. If there's one thing that you should know about me, it's that I love shock value. And I also learned at a very young age that people's opinions don't pay my bills. Thank you so much for letting me be your inspiration. Continue to be strong, empowered woman. One of my favorite quotes is, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Eleanor Roosevelt. What's the furthest you've ever had to gotten to travel for a role? In terms of shooting, I've been to South Africa, Australia, Spain, England, Montreal. It's been fun in my industry. Travel is definitely a great perk. Good morning. Besides your job, what are you passionate about? I'm definitely passionate about animal rescue and animal rights awareness. Also bringing knowledge to people that can help them learn about self-healing. I'd love to start my own nonprofit organization, too. What's your favorite meal? Breakfast. Second breakfast. 11 C's. Then lunch. Then breakfast again. Then brunch. Added brunch. How could I forget brunch? Would you let a fan take you out for a soda? What is this, 1955? Are we going to go steady afterwards? I've never heard of you, but for science I'll have to do some research later. Crust or no crust? Stuffed only. I am in porn if you didn't know. That joke wrote itself. What mouthwash do you use? 100 proof rubbing alcohol. What's your favorite time of the year? My favorite season is football. Just listen to your interview with KFC. Absolutely killed it. What was your thoughts on that whole office atmosphere, and do you think you'll ever return or do any other podcasts? Thank you so much. I absolutely had a blast. I felt super comfortable and like one of the boys. I'll definitely be back, and in fact, I'm considering starting my own podcast. What's your favorite pancakes recipe? I don't have a recipe, but I'm obsessed with banana pancakes and Nutella. I'm also obsessed with Nutella on women. Nutella writes the check. Boxers or briefs? Boxers. What's your favorite candy? Left Twix. Only the left side. Not right. What's your favorite part about your job? Being my own boss, 100%. Setting my own hours, and I keep myself busy so that it's not mundane. There's always something new to chase. Reading through your responses, it seems that you have used your career as a positive and empowering form of growth with your own mental health and self, on top of your sense of living life your own way. What would you say to those who say pornography is abusing women and taking advantage of them and preying on their insecurities? I'm sure it does happen, since shitty people exist no matter the field you work. However, I've known plenty of individuals in my life that are firm believers of movements like porn kills love and thoughts like porn is rape. Also, my follow-up question would be, if there is anything like that, what are ways that the industry has prevented predatory practices and/or exploitation by individuals? I've said this once, and I'll say it again, if you change the perspective, you change the narrative. People treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. If women are finding themselves constantly abused within this industry, they're probably not going about being in the industry in the right way. Are you a morning person or a night owl? I used to be a night owl, but I've been forcing myself to be a morning person to be more productive. Hi. How come you do this job? Do you like it? It's hard for me to believe people would enjoy these things, since I personally had a little trauma which is hard to get over. So it's hard for me to be alive it is enjoyed. I understand entirely. I've dealt with sexual abuse my entire life. In fact, the first time I experienced anal sex it was not consensual. Being in the industry actually helped me reverse that trauma and put things back into my own control to the point now I actually enjoy anal sex. What's your favorite movie? Three-Way Tie, Princess Bride, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, Battlestar Galactica. I know the last wasn't a movie but I couldn't resist. What are the top 3 things on your bucket list? I plan to walk the entire Great Wall of China. It'll take 9 months. I want to kickbox a kangaroo. And win. On my 85th birthday, I plan to rob a bank and get away with it. If I don't get away with it, I'll simply plead insanity which will get me into a court-mandated free living situation. See? I've got it all figured out. Taps head. Been reading the responses and it's pretty clear you're a great, down-to-earth person. Props to that. Is there anything in the porn industry of which you think, if applied to the normal world, would make the world a lot better? Kind of cliché, but I think communication is everything. If you can't talk about sex and what you like, then you shouldn't be having it. I recently gave someone advice where the relationship was great except for the sex, but once they spoke about the details of what they like and don't like without the feeling of being judged, they can talk about it safely openly.